Hmm. All right. What's going on, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. I'm gonna get a little bit more interactive because this is nighttime or whatever. Nighttime is the right time. Um, I'm gonna do this a little bit more often, but I'm set some rules right now. So anybody who comes along, at some point I will open this up. And when I open it up, I'm gonna talk to people one person at a time. You know, these brothers in this space are absolutely right about that. It's kind of like a wild show when you open this thing up and let a bunch of people in at the same time. So we're just gonna have one-on-one conversations with multiple people. What's happening, Ron? So this particular live is exactly what I'm talking about. What what is your idea of what a man is? And I'm using the mother from the Ayan Van Zant episode, not out of disrespect or spite. What's up, Patrick? You know, it's because situation is very pertinent to the community as we see it. And what I mean by that is she was raised in a situation where the women in the family thought men weren't needed or they were needed when they felt like they were needed. So she didn't really have an idea about what a man is because she was raised in a household that was, you could say largely feminist. And so she, when it came down to her only son, or to her son, she didn't think her son was a man because he wasn't the idea that she had of what a man is in her head. That same idea that she had, she never raised him to be. So this is a problem, big problem. And the more I listen to the men and the women talk, the more I notice that the women are not really receptive to actually talking to men because to me, this same ideology gets in the way. Where, guess what? She has an idea of what a man is and you don't fit it, but her idea of what a man is just that it's an idea. It's not based in nothing real. It's just based in a false reality that she made up. You know, well, this ain't nothing against the high value thing because this is about the fallacy that I'm seeing a lot of these women who in some ways look intimidated or scared to talk to men because when they talk to men, it's an idea that they're talking to. It's a fictitious character that they're talking to, and I think it went rampant to the point where we're dealing in a situation where you having a bunch of ladies talk about the man that they want. Yeah, Neverland. The man that they want is a mythical man. And when they're talking to men, they're telling men what they think men are saying and what they think men are doing when the men can speak for themselves. So what I'm seeing is, you know, the ladies are so caught up in talking to an avatar that they're socially awkward. They don't know how to talk to an actual man. And this idea that being a man is such a negative thing. What is your idea about men being? Is it positive or negative? And um, are these ideas actually real? Because I'm hearing too often about this idea that people were verbally abused. Weird to hear that. Legend, what's happening, fam? Good to see you. It's a weird idea. And what I mean by this being a weird idea, it's it's the idea that you can verbally abuse men on a normal basis, but don't look at it as abuse because your idea of a real man is a man who can take your abuse. That's a problem. A real man, you should be able to talk to crazy. A real man, you should be able to use him and manipulate and play him. Savage, what's happening? That's a problem. That's a holographic idea of what a man is. It's scary to the point that women are judging men by a man that they made up in their mind that they don't even know. And this is becoming increasingly problematic, to say the least. And now I'm looking and I'm thinking, I'm like, what is your idea of what a man is? Because with this woman here, she didn't even see her son as a man because he didn't fit her idea. So my question, what is a man supposed to do? Like, because this moving of the goalpost of what a man is and what a man is supposed to be seems to move on how many things you can get out of this guy for free. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. You know? Yeah. Absolutely, Patrick. This is where we're at now. This is how bad it's gotten now, to the point that we have nothing to talk about because we can't talk. And even, and I can't, this is about, we're asking a question about the ladies, but even with the guys, it's to the point where some of this scientific talk about men, how men can talk to a woman, that comes from a socially awkward space also. Because you're not, somebody's talking to you as an avatar, and you're trying to talk to the person, but you can't have a conversation with the person. You're having a conversation with somebody who's having a fictitious conversation with a fictitious person, and now you're trying to scientifically figure out how to talk to somebody who you don't know how to talk to. Samuel, what's happening? So my issue now is, at the end of the day, what is your idea? Because this protected provider thing, I'm not sure if it's the idea. Because is it the high value guys that's your idea, or when does your idea shift and change? Because it seems like that also happens. You have an idea about men at 20, then you have an idea about men at 25, then you have an idea about men at 30, then you have an idea about men at 35, then you have an idea about men at 40, without taking into consideration, if your idea changes, that's on you. Like, and it's okay to grow and evolve, but this constant idea that you can change, evolve your idea, and that evolutionary man will appear when you evolve your idea, is a problem. It doesn't work like that. This is not the X-Men. You're not going to find a mutant man to become everything that you want to be when you want it to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Kevin, what's happening? Man, exactly, man. That's a problem. And when I'm hearing the men and women talk, you can't really be honest with anybody. There's no way to be honest with anybody, because at the end of the day, it looks like you got groups of people who weren't honest with themselves in the first place, and it's hard to have an honest conversation or a candid conversation with an individual that hasn't actually been truthful with themselves. And part of these situations and issues that's going on in the past few weeks or month or two, it leans back to that the world can't wait on you to get it together. It just can't. And it can't wait on you to change your mind to see if your idea is real or not. Like power still never. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know. So like I said, that's my little 10-minute spiel about it. I'm gonna open it up, and like I said, I'm gonna just talk to people. If y'all want, come on, come on. But I'm gonna talk to people one on one. Just one on one, and then bounce off because it's one of those things where you know candid conversations with real people. What's up, Micah? Because this is a problem now. It's a major problem, and I'm looking at this stuff like this is not cool anymore. It's just problematic to say the least. It's just, and I've never in my life understood that part of it. Let me see something real quick. Let's see this. If this is right. No, that ain't right either. Okay. I got to knock these banners down. Da da da. Give me 1 second. There we go. So let's get back to it real quick, fam. See, Care Bear. So this is my spiel about that is because at the end of the day, what are we doing? Real talk. Like when we come to a situation where people are talking about the negativity about these relationships, maybe one of the issues that's in the way is we're not dealing with actual people. We're dealing with avatars. We're dealing with ideas. And what happens when you have an idea about what somebody is supposed to be and you with them? You're gonna aggravate them. You ultimately gonna aggravate the heck out of them. Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep telling them what they supposed to be in your mind and not deal with them for who they are when you're talking to them. That's a problem. And then turn around and say, I don't understand why, me and this person are bumping heads. It's very easy to understand why. Because your idea is not a person, it's an idea. Thus, this idea about certain type of people are better suited for sex and certain type of people are better suited for relationships, certain type of people are better suited for getting money out of, certain type of people are better suited for treating a certain type of way. It's like this is getting ugly. And when it's getting so ugly that people get tired of it, Tampa, what's popping? Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Patrick. When in a sense, people's ideas have become high maintenance. Nobody wants to be to keep up with your idea. But the thing about the guys is we don't really know what a lot of ladies' idea is. And the crazy part about it is when I was looking at that episode and looking at that clip, I don't think that woman knew what her idea of a man was. And the question, that comes out is all the ladies who have an idea about what a man is and is supposed to be and what their man is and the man that they want is supposed to be and the man that they deserve is supposed to be, what is it actually? Like if you're a certain size and a certain look, what is the guy that you're supposed to have? What does that idea actually look like? What is he supposed to be? Tampa, actually just working on it through these videos, to be perfectly honest. I made videos for a long time and I saw that I was very country for a long time and I'm still country. So that's all. This is where we're at. Because This idea, what's happening, DC? This idea about what men are is not real. It's not real. And it's unfortunate because I'm starting to believe that a lot of these ladies have had their hearts broken because they dated somebody and they didn't know the person. They picked the person because they felt like he fits my idea about what I think he is, or he fits the idea of what I think a man is, not even getting to know the person. You gave him carte blanche because you didn't date him, you dated the idea. He just happened to be the avatar for your idea. And the same thing happens, when the ladies were getting into it earlier this week about the colorism thing. Well, here's the thing. With the colorism thing, it's still in play that this is women imposing what they think a man idea of attractive is. And mine was popping. So this man doesn't like me because I say or I think or I feel he doesn't like this. But what if the guy told you, no, I don't have a problem with that, but I have a problem with this? But your idea of a man is the idea that, he shouldn't have a problem with this. He's not a real man if he doesn't accept this. Key Gravity was popping. Oh, man. I get that. I got a friend from TSU too, fam. I remember she tried to hook me up with a stripper that had 3 kids. She tried to hook me up with a 50-year-old that had one eye, and I was like 30 at the time. I don't even know if I was 30 at the time. It's that. Hey, Faith, you know what? You're a resident woman. You come. Could you come on? I'll put the link up earlier. Because this is an actual thing that I need to I'm trying to flesh out and suss out myself. Oh man, the chin, what's happening? All my bills, and you know what? You're horrible. You're horrible, Mocha. You too. Either way, I'm trying to do this like one-on-one though. Oh. Like I'm talking about the TSU in Houston. You know what I'm saying? So, Petway, we in two different things. And how you doing? Because as a man, this has become in a sense an epidemic. This idea has become an epidemic. I'm good, Mocha. I see you cooking in there. Don't think I'm not there. I'm there when you're going live. I'm just quiet. I'm working a lot of times, so I'm enjoying. I'm still there. Yeah, okay, no problem, Faith. See, we're at this point where when I'm seeing the ladies, some of these ladies' reactions to the Kevin thing. Hold on for a second. My apologies. Yeah, that was my woman. So here's the thing. When it I understand that. When it comes to this idea, like I was saying, this vitriol that Kevin got, the vitriol that the the owner to that restaurant got. This idea about what a man is, what a man is supposed to tolerate, what a man is supposed to do, and more importantly, what a man's boiling point is supposed to be is troubling. Because we're at a point where a man's boiling point is should be on Jesus levels, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. Now we got to deal with this, because at the end of the day, it's utterly asinine to believe that it's normal to say something like, in a sense, I'm gonna put the link back in a second. When men have an ideology, an idea about what a real woman is and what a real woman's supposed to be, some of these things we don't even say, because some of it sounds so asinine. Like, we don't say, I'm gonna let this woman be a woman. It's just because it doesn't sound right to us. We don't have an idea about the woman. We have an idea about her looks. And at a certain point, you know what I'm saying? And Monica, like, you could come up too. Like I'm saying, I'm just doing one-on-ones. I want to actually know what's up with this stuff. It's at a point where, when I'm hearing women talk, part of me is making an assumption by what I'm hearing, and by the few interactions that are having with men. A lot of these women don't know how to actually have a conversation with a man in general, and that's problematic, because they can have a conversation with the idea. And even when somebody bring up Derek Jackson, I think Derek Jackson in some always fits their idea of what they want. I don't think his information helps them whatsoever, but I think he fits the idea. Oh, Amanda, what's happening? Because I'm seeing all of this stuff go on, and to me, it's simple. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be with somebody and get along with somebody, you do that. If you don't, you won't. If you want to be single, cool. If you don't want to be single, cool. But what I keep running into is a lot of fear. And what I mean by fear is, it's kind of like when you put a person on a pedestal and you tell them how they're supposed to act, how they're not the type of person that should be able to do this, and you actually put your standards onto them, but your standards are unrealistic, and you're looking for somebody to fill an unrealistic standard. What's up, Sean? And when you're looking for them to fill it, when they don't fill this unrealistic standard, they hurt you. It hurt you. Prayer, what's happening? And that's a problem. Oh man, I'm gonna do that too. Like, Antoine, I'm probably gonna do that topic next week, because like from now to tomorrow till the Monday after Christmas, I'm off. So I'm gonna be doing lives then. I'm gonna just do lives, and I'm gonna get back to doing a live, and I'm gonna make it interactive, in general. So I'm gonna get to that one. Trust me. Truth be told, I could show y'all. I mean, tomorrow, I think I got it in here. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I'm gonna have a live entitled, "What Happened to the Black Family." What's up, Paul? And I think I got the banner for it up here, the brand for it up here, and I can show you right now. There it goes. So this is gonna be my, what happened to the Black family. What happened to us? You did. So, but this is what it's about at the end of the day. We got to figure it out. Bucket, man, what's happening? We got to figure this out, because now, I don't care about the generations coming. No, No, it's not. It's not a man's responsibility to be a woman's fantasy. Absolutely not. You know what? You know, because the thing about it is that's real. That's unrealistic in itself. LG, what's happening? That's unrealistic in itself. You know, as a man, your responsibility is to be the best man you could be, not be the best fantasy that you can be, because you never intended to be somebody's fantasy. You know, just like sometimes some ladies don't intend to be a guy's fantasy. You know, that's not what they signed up for. But this idea that bothers that's really troubling is it seems like these ladies have this belief that men are supposed to be their fantasy. And that's not true. We're not supposed to be a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. What happens? I got you. Appreciate you, Faith. Oh, I gotta hold on. I know. Come on, come on. Are you there? You there? Let's see something. Tell me, I can't hear you just yet. Hold on, Faith. What the heck is going on my computer? Can you hear me now? Oh, I can't hear you now. There we go. Tell me if you can chime in if you can, lady. 3/4 of. I know I'm in here, but you're not up yet. Okay. Tell me something. Okay, I got you. It bumped you. No problem. I'll just remove it and come back. Okay. This has become, a big issue. You know. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, Mocha. You know, and I definitely feel you on that, Micah. Like nobody, a lot of these ladies aren't our fantasy either. They're not. And that's the problem now. That's the problem now. Now what happens? Because now I gotta actually get to saying this part of it, right? This, like I said earlier, this idea evolves. So I don't think it's ever been taken into consideration, even if you meet somebody and they fit your idea what a man is. What if you don't fit his idea what he wants in a woman is? What if you don't fit that? And see, that becomes a problem in itself, because what's up, Joe? Some of the ladies don't take into consideration that, you might not cut it. You might not cut the mustard for a guy. You might not be feminine enough. Like when ladies say, these guys are effeminate and they act a little too girly, I definitely understand what they're saying. But when the guys say, you're not feminine enough, you act a little too, masculine, or you act too much of a tomboy, it's like it's like a shot it's a culture shock. And that's a problem. You know what? Patrick ain't no good. You're not good for that. It's a culture shock. This idea, and I'm still trying to figure out this idea of, going to school or getting an education and wanting a guy who makes more than you without asking, what do the guys that make more than you want? Did those guys never said that they wanted? There's no such thing as too girly, Monica. I'm gonna tell you that right now. If you want to go to school and get an education and get a high-paying job or a good-paying job or have a career, that's not really a big deal. That's cool. But when you see those guys in these professions, you never asked them what they wanted. When you were in college with these guys, you never asked them what they wanted. American Negro, what's popping? You never asked. So if you never asked, then this becomes the problem. I got you, Faith. Oh, I got you. Tell me if you can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool, cool. I had to switch my headset to the thing, so I didn't know if I could hear you. So as you can see, this has become problematic. So I'm talking about it now, but I'm gonna start talking about some more stuff. What's up, Haitian? Thank you. So my thing is, and I used. Did you see that show about Iyanla Van Zant about the trauma train?
No, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I heard a lot of people talking about it.
Okay, there was a clip in the show where the mother said, people saw the clip about the, when Ayanna said, mothers destroy their sons. But in that clip, the son said, she don't see me as a man. Because she said it first, if you was watching it the whole way through, right? But she said it first, and he said, she don't see me like that. And she asked her, well, what's your idea of a man, or where did you get it? She said it was her idea. Basically, she made up what she thought a man was in her mind. And the reason
Oh,
she made it up because her mama was a lesbian. So her mother had a kid so her girlfriend could have a kid. So she never had a relationship with men really. You get what I'm saying?
okay, I'm following.
So my ideology about it is it's not the first time that there was like a female headed household when people grow up and not know, and their idea of manhood is an idea that they made up in their mind and not actually their experience. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, here's the thing though with that. I mean, I don't know if we could utilize those types of households
Mm-hmm.
and then point to the totality of Black women and our mentality, because we have all types of Black women. There aren't just Black women that live in a vacuum that never had any exposure to male existence. We have a lot of Black women that have their fathers, grandfathers, uncles. So there are male role models in our lives. So you can't just take that one example and say, okay, this is the problem with the women, because there's a lot that goes down the rabbit hole deep with our people, and that's just basically a very small segment of it.
No, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to connect the dots in the sense of I've seen women. What I'm saying is she was raised in quote unquote a matriarchal setting, and I've heard even on this for a long period of time that the ladies don't. There were no men in the household, so they don't necessarily know how to interact with men. So when I see some of these interactions, even on some of these panels, for some women, it's hard to communicate with men because they are not necessarily talking to the man in the actual panel or on the other side of the phone. It's like they're talking to an idea. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And for me, I'm like, okay, what is the idea in general? Because it seems like the idea moves, and the guys can't keep up with the movement. Is that fair to say?
Well, here's the thing, L.A.R. The reason why there's an idea in her situation is because in her situation she never had anything to fall back on. But like, say for instance, in the in I'll just use my upbringing. In my household, I did have an idea because my father was there. So
Mm-hmm.
someone like me can say my idea of a man is a man that goes out and works. He's leading. He comes home. He makes decisions. He helps my mom. Make decisions. He helps her out with household business and chores and things of that nature. With raising us, going to PTA meetings. That's my idea of what a man is.
Okay. Hold on for 1 second. Jojo, I see you in the back chat, but I'm gonna do it like one-on-one itself. So I don't want because I don't even want to get it mixed up. Um, Let me ask
But but hold on, Leah. Then there are other women in my family. Their idea of a man is a man that goes out and hustle, for the money. He don't necessarily have a job or education. been to jail a few times, but he does whatever it takes to bring money into the house, whether it be legal or illegal. And so they think that is their idea of a man, and it's sort of like a Pookie and Ray Ray. So that's what she thinks a man is. So when you ask a woman what her idea of a man is, you have to look at the environment that woman came from.
Okay, that's partially what what I'm trying to, because I'm looking at it at this particular point as people's ideas keep evolving and changing. And just because your idea changes, that doesn't mean that you changed enough to be able to handle this idea that you morphed into. You get what I'm saying? So now it's like, let me back this up. You've been on YouTube for a while, right?
Yes.
This goes for men and women. Have you noticed that there are a lot of people who can't have a conversation with the opposite sex?
Oh yeah, I've definitely noticed that. There's a
And
lot of name calling and bashing and making assumptions about people's lives that you don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of that going on.
so my thing is, what happens? What's up, Kendra? What happens when this is the norm in dating now? You get what I'm saying? The assumptions are becoming the norm in dating. So we're not even getting to know people because you're this person in my mind. So who are you
Yeah.
really dating? Because let's say, let me give me a second to suss out how I can reverse this. You're a woman and you're a dark skinned woman. And if I was to use the rhetoric to say, like, because when people talk about the ladies will talk about colorism, they say guys are colorists. So if I was to come to you with the "you're pretty for a dark skinned girl" rhetoric, but still want to take you out, that wouldn't make for a good interaction.
No, it wouldn't. Because I would wonder, why are you focusing on my skin tone?
And that's kind of where I'm coming from. What I'm looking at with the interaction with the ladies and the men, it's the "you're this," so now I'm going to respond to you like this without even sussing out who the person actually is. And personally, I think a lot of us are going to be alone for a very long time until we actually learn how to sit down to the table and talk like adults.
I agree.
Now, I'm gonna go to JoJo. You say whatever you want, Faith, but I'm gonna go. But after this, I'm gonna go to JoJo.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just got here at the beginning and I heard you talking about it. The subject is interesting, but here's the thing. I think that you can't really generalize this subject to just one size fits all. It's not going to work because every black woman didn't live the same exact type of life and lifestyle. Generally speaking, we are all poor people, but at the same time, a lot of us came from broken homes. A lot of us came from homes that were not broken but very stable. A lot of
Mhm.
us were raised by single mothers. Some of the single mothers were stable and some of them were unstable. Some of us were raised by single mothers, but our father was still in the picture. So it's not a one size fit all thing. I can't say that every black woman don't have an idea of what a man is because no man was there and she's just making it up in her mind, because that wouldn't be completely accurate.
I definitely get it. I definitely get it. I'm just part of the conversation to create the thought of in conversation also. So I definitely get everybody don't come from the same background, but everybody has an idea, and some of their ideas are
Now, do people
dysfunctional.
have unrealistic expectations?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think that's everybody, regardless to what background they come from. There may be a lot of people out here with unrealistic expectations because as a group, as a whole, we haven't been taught how to court, period. We are dating without any type of what do you call it?
Rules.
with no rules or no end game in sight. We don't know what we want while we're dating. Like we don't know if we should be dating to get married or are we dating to find out what we like. We don't know. There's just no type of end game in sight for why we're doing it, and we haven't been taught that we have to have some kind of end game while we're in the date while we're out here dating and experimenting.
You know what? That's what I'm talking about in a sense. So thank you for saying that part, because we're on the same page with that. That's what I'm actually getting at in that term. So thank you for coming. I mean, you can stay back there if you want, but I'm gonna get to JoJo real quick.
All right.
And
Thanks for letting me up, and now you have a good
you
one.
know it's all love. All right. Hold up. Dang, this thing always freezes. JoJo, you there?
Yeah, what's going on with you, Mr. L.A.R?
Nothing, man. What the SA, man? What is up with this military press picture, man? Just if you don't get this Michael Phelps off of here,
But
man.
my bad, my bad. I'm changing.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing, man.
But
So
oh no, I'm listening.
you go for it. Go for it.
See, this something that I noticed, especially with like the younger brothers in the community. A lot of dudes like get emasculated by their mom, and I think it's kind of a couple of reasons behind it. I think the first being that the son is a constant reminder of the father that left her. And on top of that, you just got some girls who feel like they son owes them something. He has to, you know what I mean, kind of take care of the mama like he take care of a wife. Back to that show with that lady, Yana, I guess is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Something I noticed when a young lady brought up how to, because this is another thing that's shocking too. A lot of dudes from broken households usually don't turn out good. So when I heard the dude was married with 3 kids, so I'm like, how did he do it? But something I noticed when she brought up that the dude was married and had a wife and all that type of stuff, mama, I don't know if people caught it, but she kind of like side-eyed, like, how dare you say that? You know what I mean? Like, and then it really says something when you as a parent could fix your mouth to say you don't look at the son you raised as a man. Like that just show you like the lack of respect only for your son, but it just showed the lack of respect you have for men in general.
See, let me ask, because I want people to, to take this into consideration. In your dating experience, has somebody, what's up, Sister George? Has somebody looked at you as an idea and not who you were?
Oh, most definitely. I'm a dark skinned dude. People think I'm some type of super aggressive ass, you know what I mean? Like just like a, I don't want to say mean, but like just like I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm always up to trouble. I'm always on something, if that makes sense.
Can you, when somebody has viewed you as an idea, is it irritating when they want you to prove it to them that you're not that?
I don't want to say it's irritating, but it is kind of, it do get annoying sometimes. Like my job and stuff, like you got like a lot of a lot of white people that come through and stuff, and they kind of come at you like they don't know if they can say a certain thing or how they should talk to you and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? It ain't, I don't want to say it don't make me feel no kind of way, because they white, so they, you know what I'm saying, they don't understand like and all that propaganda and stuff. But I just let them know, like, you know what I'm saying, like I'm not how how TV portrayed the typical black dude to be and stuff like that. But even just in public and stuff too, like you know what I'm saying, it's just you can tell how somebody look at you, they got like a perception of you and stuff like that.
That's that's part of the issue. To me, that's an issue, because at a certain point, if you got a perception of me and you treat me as your perception, it's a problem. It's not a problem with me. It's a problem with you thinking it's okay. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And now it becomes an issue. Gee, I see
something
you
else too. Something else that's kind of crazy to me too is just like you know how you could tell people trying to like size you up and see like if they could test you or not.
That's like, what I'm talking
that's
about.
yeah, that happens a lot. It's been it was one time. This was I want to say about a month or two ago. My mom had called me and she wanted me to drive to the gas station and meet her up there with her because her tire like needed some iron and stuff. So I went up there. Now I got my Gail in my car, my sister and my little brother in my mama car, and I'm putting the iron in her tire. Now you know it's always some lame niggas that gotta stand outside the gas stations and stuff, up to no good or whatever. So I'm putting the iron on my mama tire and I'm just looking. One dude watching me, right? So like just came and they just watching me too. So they start trying to like walk past and they just looking at me the whole time. So the dude gonna say, he gonna say, "Yeah, good" or whatever. And like one thing I don't play about is my mom in my personal space. So I looked at him, I'm like, "Yeah, we good, nigga, you good?" You know what I'm saying? Like you good? But my mama start like, you know what I'm saying? I'm grown, but like she still look at me like her little son with her. So she was like, "Just hurry up and get back in your car and drive off." And I'm like, "I ain't going nowhere." Like you had to let dudes know they can't, you know what I'm saying? They
You
can't
know
play
what?
no game with you.
Let me rewind this a little bit for something like that. Because sometimes um, I've been in situations where even my own mother, she had an idea about what a man was supposed to be, but she didn't want me to be that because she had a fear about how it would end.
Exactly.
You know, and my stepfather had to tell her, "You need to chill out with that because he's not gonna walk around here being like a punk or a doormat because you want him to you want him to quote unquote come back home safe."
Exactly.
So that
And
even that becomes a problem because I can't be some of the ladies don't understand this, but you can't be a pit bull on an on and off switch.
exactly. And that's like that's one of like that's like another like big thing in the black community. Like they don't understand like just how people I know you seen how a lot of people been saying the brother Kevin Samuels, oh, he should have said this nicer and he should have did this and he should have did that. This is my thing. You can't like, how can I say this? You can't navigate or circumvent masculinity. You got to just let it be how it is, or you don't have
Hold
it at
on.
all.
LG, the topic is, what is your idea of a man? It is that. I noticed you dropped off. Come back on. We're gonna talk about it the way you want to talk about it too. It just morphed just now. That's all. So you know what I'm saying? That's all that is. So don't sweat it. I could get back to it in that way too. Don't sweat it. It's just adding a little extra to it. But yeah, go ahead, man.
But yeah, it's just like they like girls had to realize like even my girls sometimes like I get mad. You know what I'm saying? I get when I get pissed, I be like straight pissed. Like they don't realize like when you a certain type of way, you gonna stick to that type of belief. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. Society done made it to the point now where as a dude, when you exude a type of emotion like anger, for example, they try to make it seem like, oh, I gotta tell you this so you could behave. Like you gotta let a man be a man. You know what I mean? You can't just,
That,
oh,
that's
you need to change your tone and say it nicer. Anybody who say that when I heard somebody say that, I could tell they never played a sport before. If you done had coaches, you realize to make you do something better or to improve, you got to get yelled at. Somebody got to say something to you over and over until it click with you. And of 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be in a disrespectful way. But you
you
still
know
listen
what?
to them because you got to respect authority.
You might have just added something that I didn't think about. You know what? Let me Faith coming back. So I'm gonna drop you down. I'm gonna put Faith back up. But you just added something.
Okay.
So, all right. So
All
I'm
right.
gonna catch you.
All right, Mr.
You got it.
Okay.
Faith.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. He just said something that sparked me to thinking, even about that idea. Um, some people yell at us because that's what they think we listen to, and they think,
And
yeah. I'm sorry.
that's why I came back up, because see, that's the problem with our group, how we communicate with each other. I had to really break my youngest daughter from communicating by screaming and yelling all the time. And then I had to break my son from retaliating by screaming and yelling at his sisters. And the reason why I don't like when people communicate with each other by having to raise their voice is because all it doesn't solve anything. All it does is make the situation worse. So I try to teach my children to communicate with each other in a calm, adult manner because they're adults, and that's the problem with our community. We got a lot of grown people walking around here that don't act in an adult manner. We are very, very undisciplined as a group. And when I say undisciplined, I mean that we're even undisciplined when it comes to how we talk to one another. And so that's the reason why we revert back to children and we start playing the dozens. We want to start talking about somebody's skin tone. We want to start talking about a big nose. We want to start talking about hair weave or somebody bald head or, just silly stuff, childish stuff. And then we'll start yelling and shouting over each other. And how is that being a man? How is that a manly trait?
That's what's weird about that. Now I don't like joking around and talking trash. Actually, talking trash is something that men do, and I think when it comes to women, I don't think women understand how ugly we can get at talking trash because a lot of us are active. Well, we were active. So if like with the guys that play sports, you really say some outlandish stuff to people when you're in that competitive zone. So a lot of times when it comes to that type of conversation, depending on the type of guy you're dealing with, he really probably have something on his that's right on his tongue to say, but he just don't do it. Because how can I still talk like that to this day to my coworkers. So imagine, but we know it's playful. And I'm sticking to what you're saying because I'm going back to say this. I see you, Micah. Just give me a few. Do you think that in America we have, the girls mature faster than boys? That conversation affects us as grown men because a lot of times we have grown women like we're children when we're adults, and then it causes a response that women think you're a man, you shouldn't respond that way, when actually retaliation is part of our makeup. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, when you were talking about the communication thing, is it this idea that you could disrespect another person and they just eat it? Do you think that's went too far?
I think that the mere fact that we have to stoop to disrespect with dealing with one another as adults means that we got a lot of unresolved psychological issues within our group. We can't communicate very well with one another, period, as a group. The mere fact that we think that playing the dozens and yelling and screaming at each other for sport is something that is a great pastime tells me that we're in trouble.
I'm gonna ask this just from a male to female aspect because I could be wrong. When it comes to playing the dozens and in response and responding like that, and I might be biased for saying I see grown men, give women far more leeway with the disrespectful comments than the other way around. Like I see the instigating, and then a response comes like, "Oh my God, you shouldn't have did that."
Right, but the foul language, talking up under people's clothing, berating a person like to the point where you want to destroy them, destroy their humanity. We take everything too far. It's not just fun and games with us. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And it's not something that we should be sitting around making a game anyway. We as a group, we need to find something new to do. But instead, we call all of this negative stuff part of our culture, and we should be getting rid of it. It's garbage.
I'm keeping it to the topic. And Michael, I'm gonna get right to you right after this. Uh, and I'm asking man or woman, do you think part of the culture is to treat the men disrespectfully because of the idea that you need to do something to earn it from the women, or something in that ballpark rather?
Okay, so your question is, are women expected to do something?
Are
And
women? I'm sorry. Let me. Are women being overly disrespectful to the men, expecting them to earn their respect?
no, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that in a lot of cases it's because there is a defense mechanism depending on where you grew up. Now, if you grew up in a pretty safe environment where there was no need for you to always be on the defense, then you'll pretty much have more women who are feminine acting. But if a woman is growing up in an environment where she has to defend herself 24/7, not just from physical assaults, but also verbal assaults, you're going to have a more masculine female.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take that to the next one. I'm thinking about that one because the guys would say the women are more on the offense than the defense, and I'm guessing you're saying they started on the defense and became more
But
offensive.
yeah, the environment can make you both offensive and defensive because a lot of times you got to come in the room blowing smoke or else you're going to be a target.
That's what we're gonna stop right here. I'm gonna go to Michael for that because that's kind of what I'm leaning at the particular moment. Is sometimes we just shooting off at each other. We just shooting off on the idea, not actually the person. And
All
sometimes,
right.
so I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hold up, I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get. Hold on, hold on. Mike, are you there?
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, what's up?
What's happening?
Um, when it comes to what you was talking about, as far as like the idea, you know what I'm saying, of what a man is or whatnot. As a man, I don't feel like it's my responsibility to be a woman's idea of what a man is. You know what I'm saying? Because growing up, I had my father and I had my grandfather. You know what I'm saying, in my life. So the man that I model myself after is both of them, but I chased their shadow. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that way, when I look at the man that I am, that I feel worthy, you know what I'm saying, of a man of principle and honor, you know what I'm saying, and especially seeing the way my grandfather died, you know what I'm saying, protecting the family, that I can, within myself, that I deserve the right to stand next to them. You know what I'm saying? And proudly proclaim that, hey, that's my baba. That's my father. So if a woman is like, well, you gotta be that ain't what my idea of a man is, I really don't I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not up to you. It's either you gonna ride with me or not. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Because just like they say, like to a woman, her first her first love or her first idea of what a man is her father, and the vice versa for, what I'm saying, a young boy. Mine is my mother and my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really feel like I have to bend to that. I mean, it's just pointless to me.
Two things that I thought about when you said this. One, could it be a problem with the black community? Just as a question, that we don't have a set standard of what a man or woman actually is. It's kind of like a floating standard. Like there should be some principal things that's in there just regardless. You get what I'm saying?
I think it is because we've gotten away from that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think about it, I can only speak for me. I remember the older women, talking like whether my grandmother, her friends on both sides, talking to the younger women, whether if they had a kid or whatnot, or if they were fast out there in them streets, they would say certain things like, don't no man want no ready-made family. You know what I'm saying? Like, your looks ain't gonna keep that man. You better cook, you better do this. And it seemed like they taught those things, and they taught different things as far as femininity and the roles of what a woman is supposed to do. But it's like now it's like there's a choice. you know a woman can do this if she feels to. She can pick and choose what it is that she wants to do. But what a man is supposed to do, that has never changed. Like I can't say, I don't want to do no I don't want to do no shows. Why don't you do shows and do this and this and this? Or if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and three dudes is breaking in the house, I can't roll over and be like, you know what, I don't feel like fighting right now. I don't know what they got. Why don't you go do that? Like we can't. It's topsy turvy, and now it's just everything is just up in the air and it's dysfunctional because there's no structure.
That's what I mean too. Like since everything, like maybe 30 years ago, there was a base, like a baseline of what everything was. Now it's like there is no baseline. And furthermore, I asked this about it is when we talk about, like in this space, we talk about single mother households, but there's one disadvantage to the single mother household that the guys are coming to see with the girls, partially with this topic, is we have, if I'm as a boy, my first model is going to be my mom and my aunt, grandparents, that grandmother, but the girls, they might just be making up stuff. Because if dad's not in the house, she's just making it up. Like we can find out the things we like in our mothers and the things we don't like in our mothers. But with the girls, do you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that there's too much wiggle room that's given because if you're saying that the girls will make certain things up if a father wasn't there, well, if a young man doesn't have a father in his life, you know what I'm saying, someone to teach him, how to be a man, because far too often it seemed like a lot of women believe or people believe that you 21 plus, you a man. Like, nah, you can be an adult male, but there's qualifications, you know what I'm saying, to becoming a man. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when a young boy doesn't have that, he has to figure that out on his own. As men, we don't say, well, no, LAR, Roger, he ain't had no daddy in his life, so you got we don't do that. It's,
No,
it's
no,
either it's either you a go or no go at this, and there's a way that we do it because, like the other brother said, like playing sports teaches us a lot about it. The ribbing of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like we are not gonna take another man. You're not gonna take another man by his hand and hold it and be like, "Yo, bro, you gotta step up. You gotta." Nah, you gonna be like, dude, like that's what it is, and the other brothers around him are gonna be the same way. So that puts in that man like, yo, like they saying I ain't coming through. I'm gonna show them dudes. I'm gonna show them. I can't get no job. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then when you look at that brother, you see that he trying. We see that he trying, but we also apply a little more pressure. So yo, don't quit. And then when he make it, then we celebrate him. That's how we do. But men have to be men, and I think that sometimes women aren't. I said this in the comment in StreamYard. Women aren't privy to the conversations. You know what I'm saying, that men have, except for like BGS spot, Roger, and other people's spot. But that's how we communicate. And I don't remember anybody, I can't remember anybody going to Crimson Cure, Nicole Ali, any of these other ladies, platforms saying, hey, why don't you speak like this? Why don't you speak like that? To me, Crimson, she's a prime example. It's, sometimes she's like fire, especially back in the day when she was cooking, like
He's
cooking
still
knuckles, like
cooking.
she. No, I mean like cooking knuckles, like she framed broiled back in the day. But it was one time in particular where it was some females that was challenging her, and one female, she was in a relationship with a Muslim brother that taught her things about herself that her mother should have taught her. But the way that that conversation started, it was a whole bunch of fire.
Hold
But
up.
once
Hold on.
Kendra got her, oh, go ahead.
Hold on. AL, I'm gonna get right to you. Just hold tight. I just had to tell her to say that because they in the back chat. You finish up.
But once Kendra got her, you know what I'm saying? like that woman's energy changed, and Kendra had mercy and followed suit, and it was a more gentler conversation. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is nobody said, "Hey, Crimson, why don't you being a little too?" Nah, just let that shit go. Men, we have this thing where, hey, that's woman's business. Let them handle it. They're gonna talk the way they talk. But when we talk the way we talk, it has to be some kind of edit. You know what I'm saying? Don't do this. Don't do that. And it's like, yo, fall back and let that shit go. Because that structure right there, that's something that our grandparents knew and respected. And their parents knew and respected. The ones that don't respect that is the ones that like pretty much some people in our generation in the new school, and we see how that is.
Thanks, Faith. Okay, I'm gonna get to AL now because you put me on something too. I'm gonna swing it to AL right now, but thanks. Just if you can hold or not hold, but
I hope.
okay. AL, I got you. I got you, fam.
What's going on, LAR?
Oh
You know,
shit,
I've been down for your cause for a minute, man. Keep doing what you do, bro.
appreciate it.
And piggyback off of what that brother just said, man. Everything he was saying was on point, true, correct, facts. But the only pushback I would say is quit worrying about what the fuck they gotta say when we speak as men. That's just it. We so worried about how they finna judge us on what we gotta say or how we should fix our words to be conducive for how they feel and how they think. Nah, screw that. I'm past this shit. I say what I mean what I say. And I'm hoping to your God, whoever's God, that I fucking offended you when I did it. Because why? I gave you purity, 110% unadulterated toxic masculinity when I spoke. I'm a man. I'm not supposed to be nothing but a man. And I'm not supposed to change the way I speak and talk to suit some woman's feelings. It's not going to happen. Either take it or leave it. And guess what? I don't care if you tell me, well, guess what? You can't get this. Guess what? I'm a man. At the end of the day, worst come to worst, I can go buy some ass. And once I buy it, guess what? I can shoe it along. One less headache I got to worry about. So either they need to start getting in accord with what the hell we talking about, or they gonna be left to their own devices and they gonna die alone. Like Kevin Samuels just said earlier, 1 out of 4 black women get married. So what's that gonna leave the other 3? Along with cats and dying alone. Period.
See, part of that, like I said, part of this came from what I saw that show because it was an idea, and people have this idea of what men are. And one of the things the brother was saying is something that sparked me to think about something else. The reality of what a man is and the idea of what a man is are two completely different things.
Facts, big facts. And guess what? The idea you have of me is not the realization of who I am. So guess what? Your idea is a figment of your imagination. And it's not nothing that I can do or control or try to make come to fruition. All I can do is be me and take the steps I can in this world to be the alpha male I know how to be.
Yeah, Jojo, I'm gonna come right back to you. I'm gonna come back to you. Just give me a sec. This is, and like I'm gonna throw a little sauce on it because what I was talking to with Mike about when we was talking, and I started bringing up the family dynamic. Part of what I'm seeing, and it's like a theory. Boys and girls take the whole weekend daddy child support thing completely differently. And I think that's what happens with this idea of what a man is. Because the boys that say a man is more than just money, you just can't drop off no money and leave. But the girls, it seems to morph into the idea of when a man come around, he coming around with money and gifts. So both of them have a bad issue, just growing up as children to become adults, working on the idea of what a man is, whether it's good or bad, which, to them. If a boy's, go ahead,
you right about that because I've practiced that thesis you're talking about. I have a daughter, and it's hard for me to get and be around her because of the ex, my biological, my sisters and whatnot. They just feel like they got to have a hand on it. So for me to separate myself from the indignities of dealing with toxic femininity within my own family, I've divorced myself from it, but not from my child. I would come around and I would want to spend time with my daughter and see her. And I started seeing something. When I would come around, she get happy, she get glad, but then the next thing she'd be like, well, Daddy, you gonna take me shopping, Daddy, you go this, Daddy, you go that. So finally, a couple of weeks ago, I said, you know what? I'm gonna just come around and get her and just spend time with her. But I'm not even gonna mention spending no money. I'm not gonna mention taking her nowhere. I'm not gonna mention doing materialistic things for her whatsoever. And I can see within 10 minutes after me getting her and spending time with her, her whole disposition would change. Well, we're not going this, and no, I'm here to spend time with you. I'm here to dive into your brain. I'm here to see what's going on in your life. Material things come and go. But this that I'm trying to give you and get from you, this bond, that's priceless. It can't be replaced. But you know, she's 15 and you know, is not sinking in, you know, because I can see all the poisons that her biological mother has put up in her. So okay, when a man comes around, he's got, like you said, he's got to give me something. So guess what? I stopped that shit. And once I stopped that shit, I could see some of the resentment and the what do you call that?
Not disrespect, indifference.
Indifference, and it's a form of disrespect. I'm sorry, you right. It is a form of disrespect because guess what? At the end of the day, I'm the father. You're the dog. I'm here to teach you life lessons. Not in first. I'm here to teach you life lessons first, and I'm also here to protect you, and I'm also here to provide for you that order, not the other.
I'm gonna stop with you now. I'm gonna swing it back to JoJo. So, all right. So hold on, because and I got you, Tiff, because I see what you said. Hold on, I saw what you there, JoJo?
Yes, sir. Mr. L.A.R, this is another thing too that we got to stop doing as like a community. Only in the Black community do we let the women define what manhood is. That's like a grave error that the Black.
Say what you gotta say. You got about 30 seconds. I'm gonna open this door and I'm gonna be right here. So go spit your thing.
Yeah, like only we the only community that let people without nut sacks tell you what a real man is. That's like the biggest mistake you can make in a society. Only a man can tell you what another man is or tell you how to be a man. Like we gotta stop getting that mixed up, because this is the thing. Life is not fair. Like, you're not finna go through life all cookies and rainbows and peaches and cream. That's insane to even think like that. You're gonna have some type of hardship. You're gonna eventually encounter some type of disrespect, and you're gonna have to be prepared how to get through it or get over it or get it out your way. Them the only ways it's gonna happen. You can't be oh my God, I'm gonna try to be nice. It don't work like that. Sometimes you have to put your foot down and take what belongs to you, or take it from somebody else. Like, if you got an opportunity for a job and somebody else got an opportunity, you can't say, "Oh, I'm gonna try to be nice as possible and hope this person don't speak to the interviewer better than me." Nah, you got to go in there. You got to put your foot down. You got to say, "Oh, I should get this job because such and such." You can't be I know both of us are applying for a job, but to not hurt their feelings, he should have that. Ain't how it works. That ain't how life works. You gonna have to endure some type of hardship and pick yourself up off the ground. Straight up, and stop letting the guild tell you what a real man is. Because this is something I find. I'm gonna be real quick.
No,
when this whole pandemic thing started or whatever, you had people running to the stores doing all this type of stuff and all this type of getting supplies and stuff. My gal ain't had to worry about doing none of that because I did all that. How many other people could say the same thing? You got gals out here who had to do all that type of stuff by themselves. Somebody breaking their house, they gonna be alone, and what they gonna do? And you got something to say, huh?
I'm back. I hear you. I wanted to do this when she came. You see that message on the bottom? Please believe the white community wants their daughters to look at the father as a provider first. Even if I believe that, that's part of this topic itself. That people have an idea about what we're doing, what we are, and what other people are doing with what they are. And I got you, Faith. I'm gonna come to you next. You know, it's one of those things where What's more okay? What's more important, the idea or the actual actions?
The actual action.
Does it look
And
like?
Miss,
Go ahead, Jojo.
huh, can you explain it? This is what's so baffling to me. Why is it that women who not married try to, cause I seen this a lot too. You see this every day walking around. Like when you hear this real man term and stuff like this, it be women that's not even married that try to give you the idea of a real man. How do you know what a real man is if you don't have one in your life? You know what I'm saying? It's too much of this. Oh, cause I feel this. That's what it should. That's not how it works. That's
It's not.
like just like just I say it like this. I'm gonna be real quick too. People say that men and women are equal. I don't think that's the case. I think the man is the leader and the woman is the follower, but they both work together and coexist to create something better. That's just my thoughts. Like okay, and this you know, a man has more testosterone. We built to endure more. We built bigger and built in a more physical way to handle things. You got girls who done off themselves for working too many hours and all this type of stuff in the name of independence. When all they had to do was say, you know what, I'm gonna put my ego to the side. I'm gonna coexist with this man. That some unfortunately would rather be by themselves and stuff like that, and that's good and well. But it's like if you're gonna do that, then don't try to tell people who are actually trying to have families or be together and coexist with somebody else that, oh, what I think you should do. How do you know what they should do if you don't have it? You know what I
You know
mean?
what? I'm a stop with you right there. I'm gonna go to Faith because I'm
Okay.
sure because she got Sun Eagle. I see you, fam. Hold up, dang, what the heck is going on with my computer today? Faith, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I appreciate you like it this way because I think it's easier to have a one-on-one than a multiple. I agree with everybody.
Yeah, everybody gets a chance to get their full statements out without anyone interrupting. So yeah, this is a great way to do it. Kudos to you for thinking about it, you know.
No, I'm taking it from all the other brothers in the space who started doing it. I ain't thinking about it. I thought about it, but I never implemented it. So it's they did it. Um, the young lady was a Tiff. She was talking earlier, and then she said, the thing about white men controlling 4 continents because of money, and I find it, and what I meant when she said the other thing about what the white community does, and even with what JoJo was talking about having an idea. This is part of the issue. If black men started acting like white men,
You know what, L.A.R., I get so sick and tired of explaining. I'm looking at the chat to people that I am a widow. So that means I've been married.
don't worry. But like, if y'all don't know that about Faith, y'all just ain't been in this space long enough. You know, and sometimes this becomes a problem because okay, yeah, that let me say it this way. As a black woman, you and your other sisters do not like being compared to white women at all. Am I right or wrong about that?
Yeah, we really don't. I would have to say you're right.
But this idea that you could just arbitrarily say, white men do this, we not, you don't want us to be like white men know what we can be as far as an adversary. You get what I'm saying? You we're thinking to ourselves, you don't want us to be that with you. And that's something that we don't want to be, especially with our own people. But you see how we get at our own people real heavy. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This idea that, you know what? Let me ask it this way. And I'm glad I'm talking to a woman about this. Do you think money and power would change the dynamics of our interactions for positive from where we're at now? If we went from where we're at now to just money and power, you think it would change the dynamics? Like it'd be more respect in the community?
Yeah, I think it would be a good start. I do think that there would be some changes, but there are a lot of other psychological changes because money is not going to cover the emotional baggage that we're carrying around. There's a lot of people with too much emotional baggage that not even money can fix.
See, that's the part.
So the short answer is no.
The reason I asked that is because I think this assumption that if all these black men became millionaires, let me reverse this. If all of these, because I want to do it in the most subtle, disrespectful way that it comes off to us. Okay, if all the black women became super beautiful overnight, and now all of these guys who were, not really feeling you, all of a sudden start feeling you and treating you a whole lot better.
It would be fake.
So the men are thinking the same thing in that scenario. Because if there's no the cooperation would be fake. So why would I even, not necessarily why wouldn't I pursue better in life, but why, if I pursue better in life, I would believe that, I should share it with you. But
but here's the thing though, a lot of the submission that white men get from their women is fake. If you look at how the white women move, they're only on their men's side or on their team when it's beneficial to them. But otherwise, they'll go around and they'll have sex with whoever they want to have sex with. They'll jump on any type of movement, even though their men are against that movement. But as soon as times get tight, like COVID, or there's a recession, they'll run back to their zaddy and they'll fake submission because they know where the money and the power is. Micah, so it's no different. It's no different from for women of other cultures. That's just going to be something that's going to be there. Money does not equate that a person is going to automatically give you, how can I say, real respect, real love, real esteem. That's something that is earned from a person. Not money can't buy that.
I'm gonna tell you from a male perspective what it looks like from us, but and then you respond and I'm gonna go to Micah. But it doesn't look like that to the black men. What it looks like is white women are the partner in crime to white men, and who are befriending everybody, acting like they're not friends. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that.
Because from our perspective, it doesn't look like, oh, they don't get along or it's fake. It looks like, okay, we're gonna love each other behind closed doors. In public, we're gonna act like we got animosity. And we're gonna get cool with these other groups, and we're gonna say we all in with them, but every time we all in with them, we benefit first and we come home. And you fund it, so you can give me the money, and I'm gonna bring it back so they can act like, we're all in this together. They look like the facilitators of the other shenanigans.
Right.
So for us, it doesn't, we just have a different perspective of it. That's all I'm saying.
Right. And I get what you're saying, because that's exactly the way that you just illustrated it right there. That's exactly is what's going on. So, we shouldn't get caught up with money as far as like when it comes to how black men and black women interact with each other, being the end all and be all about how we're going to love and respect each other. Because once again, in other groups, money that is not what makes those two people love or respect each other. In a lot of instances, those two people don't even like each other. It's just a business.
Well, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna move on. I think we have a problem putting. I think we don't like to admit this, but all of these other groups have a common enemy in hating us.
Yes.
And we're on this, they're all kumbaya. Like if they didn't have hate, they might be at each other's throat, but they all have us to hate. Because when we come in the
Exactly.
room, even if they don't like each other, they can, just like that, they snap back
they
together
can
like
they can come
bullets.
together really fast when it comes to coming against us. And
Right.
see, and that's where we are slow because we are so busy within our differences with each other. We can't snap together long enough to come together to fight all of these common enemies that are against us. We're trying to have all these coalitions with people that are trying to destroy us.
So, I appreciate that. Okay, Mike, I'm coming to you, Faith. And after this, I might have to shut it down his head, and it's all quiet over here. She being all nice, and I gotta act like I gotta have some manners. But all right,
All right.
all
Well,
right,
thanks for having me on, L.A.R.
you got it. Oh, what, Michael, you got it.
Hey, can I say something real quick on what you just said?
Yeah,
Hey, man, you remember, and I think like as us being men in experience and you know what it's like to be young men, we can relate to this. Remember when you was in school and there was that one kid, you know what I'm saying, that he either couldn't fight or his parents said he wasn't allowed to fight at school,
mm-hmm.
and it seemed like a lot of people messed with him, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was people that really ain't had no reason to mess with him that they messed with him. That's pretty much how we are. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you have you have white women that they push different things, and it's like the sisters jump on board, but it's like nobody can get up here and talk to you or talk to Crimson or talk to BGS or talk to Green Gorilla or Dr. Tia San Johnson if they don't know what the F they talking about, right?
Right.
Okay. So if we really looked at it as a people and said, okay, you want to ride with the feminist stuff, right? Let's look at after slavery when they tried to get y'all on board and told y'all to sign the petition, and then y'all said no, and then they said your men are gonna beat you, and then you sign a petition, and then they stuff didn't go through, then they blamed y'all. Well, if we
Hold
really
on.
want to go back,
Hold on.
huh?
Hold on. Haitian man, my bad. Just so you know, my bad. So yeah, go ahead.
Like even if we want to go back before that, you know what I'm saying? And Crimson put me onto this when she broadcasted about it, the daughters of the trade. So how did we get here? So if we go back and do all of that and look at it, and I think that's kind of like what we need to do and lay that out, and then say, okay, now make a decision off this versus what you heard. You know what I'm saying? Versus all these narratives, because really it's like you got your men that are fighting for young boys and fighting for community. You know what I'm saying? Because look at Ice Cube. But it's like, what are y'all doing? Like, you leaving them behind, but then you coming at the men with masculine energy, and it's like I talk to some of the brothers like in my circle that I'm around and everything, and a lot of them feel like, yo, like, how can I trust the sister? And I ask why, and some of the things that they say, like, I really can't. Not that I'm trying to challenge it, but I can't challenge it because uh, remember the chick with the head, like with the crazy braids? Looked like her head was dipped in Doritos, and she was telling women how you get a dude for his money. You be this way, you know what I'm saying? But then behind his back, you do that, and it's like how are we going to fix that? Now the communication part, I can kind of understand that. Men, we talk different than women. You know what I'm saying? If a dude raises his voice, it's either yo, he means what he's saying, he's passionate about what he's saying, and yo, I feel that. Cause like I said,
Well,
we all play sports.
hold on. Well, we do have to admit, like, there is also the guy who don't raise his voice. That the guys know. Look, man, he said that one time. You know what happens after that.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's like that that right there, I think we just have to reframe that narrative, you know what I'm saying? And say, hey, like,
let
just
me
show it.
let me. I'm gonna go to Sun Eagle because Sun Eagle came on earlier and didn't come and didn't say nothing. So I'm gonna go to Sun Eagle real
Cool,
quick.
bet.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. You there? You there, Sun Eagle? You just gonna play? That's cold blooded. All right then, fam. I ain't gonna do. Faith, your camera on. I don't know if you want to have it on or not. Let's see. All right, all right. Hold up. Yeah, my bad, Michael, because I guess they won't say nothing.
No, you good. You good.
So here's the thing. Here's what cracked me up. Oh, well, hold up. LG, I got you, fam. I'm gonna go to LG then.
Go ahead.
You know, he said, can you give a shout out to hold up? I'm gonna do that now. And hold on, LG, because I'm gonna say this for Faith real quick. Hold on. Faith, can you shout out my new series called The Dark Side of Dating, featuring her and CK? Yes, every Saturday at 4 p.m. So check out Faith on The Dark Side of Dating this Saturday at 4. LG, how you doing?
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? I know we was talking
Good.
about something earlier. I know we was talking about a
Yeah,
different
you know
partner.
what? I'm gonna
It's
just come back on your net stream because
no,
I'm
no, no,
just completely
no.
lost right now.
Where you were at then, we can start from right now.
I don't even know. Well, the only thing I would say is mostly what most women want is for a man to provide and protect. That's all we want. And I don't think that's too much to ask for.
Okay. I don't. Here's the interesting thing about that.
Hmm.
Most guys don't think it's too much to ask for. The issue is, when do you want this?
All the time.
Do you think all the time?
Well, that's just the way I was raised because that's just what I'm used to because that's how I saw my father. He was with my mother and all the men in my family were like that. So that's just what I'm used to. I can't speak for every woman, but me personally, that's
Okay.
what I would want.
Okay. Let's take you out of the equation in a sense. And what do you think the norm is going around?
Well, considering the circumstances with our generation and the state of our community, I think for the most part, women have been left to fend for themselves. And so they probably have to protect themselves, and we don't feel protected.
Okay. Some of the guys have an issue with that statement, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Hmm.
Because it sounds like it includes the people who didn't have to fend for themselves, who just did it because that's what they wanted to do. You get what I'm saying? Like there are people who actually there are people who made a decision, and maybe they didn't like the decision on the back end, and then they say they had to fend for themselves.
Okay, but I have a question. How could a woman make a decision to put herself in a position to have to protect herself when a man should be protecting her? Why would we make that decision? And why would you all feel like that's something that we would do? Like, where's that coming
No,
from?
no problem, no problem. I'm 41. So are you anywhere around my age group?
I'm in my 30s.
Okay. You we've all it's kind of been a norm running joke that people have heard, uh go to school and get an education so you don't have to depend on who.
What do you mean? Like, depend?
It on a
Because I,
man.
I, I mean, like, I get
It,
it. I've heard people, but depend on who? Like, what do you mean? Because
like it's been a running thing that people say, told young ladies to go to school, get a job so you don't have to depend on a man.
I was never told that,
You
so I
may have
can't
never
speak on
been.
that.
No, you may have, but that is what is kind of the consensus.
Hmm.
And that consensus is, since I'm 41, that consensus created this, because I'm talking about when I was 15 and she was 15, when I was 20 and she was 20. You get what I'm saying? So
Okay.
if you're giving something to a group of ladies at a young age, and then they turn around 10, 20 years later and say, I had to fend for myself, or I need to protect myself. You X out the fact that you were told this when we were both children. You went on a path that the guys didn't say that. The guys didn't tell you to do that. But and what I mean by the guys, I mean the guys in your same age group. Because there were some fathers who told their daughters this also. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, but my thing is, why do you think that young ladies were told that? Do you think it's because at some point in our generation, at some point, something went wrong and there was a situation where there was a lot of um, out of wedlock marriages and um,
I was born in '79, and you were still getting kicked out of school for having a baby. You know what I'm saying? So the out of wedlock marriages really it happened in the '80s, but if I reverse this and I say to you that the young boys were taught to do all of these things for themselves because because there won't be a woman who actually be a good partner to them. And if me and you were the same age and my parents were doing that and a lot of the guys' parents were doing that, would that be your fault if at our same age I can't find a partner?
No, I don't think it's anybody's fault. I think it's just like an issue within our community where something happened and I don't know what happened. I think we need to pinpoint it and try to fix it where at some point something happened to where um, we started having single households with mothers just raising the children on their own with no help from the men. So whose fault is that? Can we blame that all on the women? No.
No, you can't blame it all, but you can't. It's not like okay, when we have this conversation with men and women, this all thing gets framed into it, but we don't want to know the percentages of what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to, it's convenient to leave out some people chose that type of lifestyle in general.
What lifestyle is that? Can you explain that to me a little bit?
To be a single parent.
Okay. So what's the difference? Because let me tell you, like, what do you consider a single parent and what is the difference in how in that household a child will make a choice? Do you think, let's say, like my father died when I was young. So I had my father half of my life. But he taught me his values and I knew what type of man, how a man should act and treated his wife because my mother was a widow. So I had a different experience than some of my best friends. So, I mean, what do you think the difference is when it becomes to that?
That's not a single parent household. That's a widow household.
But
you know, like
I get it.
What I mean by okay, there's a difference if somebody was married and had children, if somebody was widowed who had children, if somebody got pregnant and had a shotgun marriage and was married before the baby was born, that's marriage in a sense.
Right, I get it.
But there's a larger group of people who just wanted to have kids, or they wanted to have sex and wound up having kids. That's the larger population, and we assume that population of people didn't. There's a small part of that population that didn't mean to do that. I mean, the large population didn't mean to do that. When as the years went by, it seems like the large population did mean to do that. Because you hear the things people say and you hear the rhetoric and you hear the things people have said, and it doesn't add up to somebody who wants to be a family. You get what I'm saying?
I get it. That makes a lot of I get it. And you're totally right. I agree with that. So where do you think we went wrong? Why are there so many single parent households right now? Why do you think that is, and how do you think that can be resolved at this point? Can it be resolved in our community?
anything could be resolved. I think the biggest aspect is selfishness and narcissism. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people were selfish and they were making decisions. They were making unilateral decisions that just happened to involve another person. And then you have another demographic of people. It's all about them in the sense of uh, as Ayan Levan said in the thing, provocative victims. They stir up the pot, and
Hmm.
then when it heats up, they blame everybody else. And you for we're looking at people who don't want to admit what they did.
Right. Blame game. We're just blaming each
No,
other.
not,
So
not,
yeah.
not no, no, not that's part of it, but not blame game. If I don't admit what I did and I just get older, I let you live with the belief that something else happened.
But do you think, like, I mean, just because you don't admit it and you know you did something, don't you think you have a part in it? It's just in the back of your head, right? So you have to think of the psychology of it as well.
That's when you're talking about fixing the community.
Yeah.
If I do something to you, right, that involves you, and I wash my hands of even admitting my part in it, and we bring kids out of that situation, my kids believe that narrative. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They take on that narrative, though it so they begin to live a life that's a lie because I let a lie live.
Right.
This is the part that's harder to fix.
Right. I agree with that.
And this is why, like, part of the issue that the guys are talking about is it's a certain amount of lies, and that's part of why I'm part of the title. If I let you live a lie, you create the idea of what you think something is on your own,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how we down this spiraling downward rabbit hole.
Yeah, well, but let me ask you this. Like, do you think Black men have some type of like issues with, because I've researched this and I know about how, before we were both born, there was a situation where they said that where the men, Black women were not allowed to have the men in their households because if they did have them in their households, they couldn't get their checks or whatever the situation was. Do you think Black men feel some type of way because of that, or do you think that was some type of government, you know, something to where the government tried to set us up to separate us, which they've been doing that for years, ever since slavery. Um, what do you think about that?
The issue is involved in that. The
Mm-hmm.
issue is that aspect wasn't just for our community. It was open to everybody. It was just the way we went about it created it. You know, Hispanic women could do the same thing at that time. It was the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Hispanic
Right.
women, Asians, uh, Arabs, Native American, they could do the same thing. Like white people, they flip flop the rules whatever they see fit. But other groups had that same option. They just didn't go about it in that same way. Because, you know, happens when somebody's in has does that and they were involved in their children's lives, but they were with that, but then 20 years later they say, my dad was a deadbeat. Because now they're not saying that they were involved, but they took the welfare thing. Like Isaiah Thomas, the basketball player that's in the Hall of Fame, not the younger one. He was
Okay.
on
Yeah.
he was on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay, and he was talking about that with his father. His father had to leave the home so his mother and his brothers could receive welfare.
Hmm.
But he didn't turn around and was like, "Oh, my dad is," if the family would have turned around and said, "Oh, dad's a deadbeat, dad is this, that, and the third," that's what created the problem. You get what I'm saying? Because when the family knows what's going on and the kids grow up and say it's something completely different, that's betrayal.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
So sometimes the guys, it's not as complicated as we make it to be. But just like saying earlier, if you don't know the real truth or the backstory, or you made up the backstory, you living in the idea too. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this, some of this stuff is, if as a man, if I put you in a position, in the same position, let me go back. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. They talked about men, say from the 50s to the 80s, being the negative things about men, right? Forgetting that from the 50s to really the 80s, you had Jim Crow, you had the civil rights movement, and you had Vietnam, because that lasted from 55 to 75, and you had the drug era from Vietnam, particularly, that was heroin before crack came into it, right? You had a group of men. Nobody thought about PTSD back then. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Of course not. Right.
Nobody thought about people having mental issues coming back from the war, because prior to that, the more manly thing to do in the Black community, say with the Korean War and what was the war before, in World War I and World War II, you were just supposed to come back home and get back to work no matter what went on.
You were just supposed to get a job and work and live your normal life and be this upstanding person. And then a lot of times when they came back, that wasn't the case. So
right, those guys had mental issues. They were shell shocked, because my grandfather was shell shocked, but he had to immediately go back to work. So a lot of the era that some of this preceded, the drug era in the 80s and all that, those men never had a chance to decompress. Because if you go from Jim Crow rights movement to Vietnam, people, the men had more stress and strain on them physically, mentally, and in America than anybody, because they were getting it in different directions. And even with the drugs, that was kind of a release. Not saying it was a good release, but it's an experience that nobody in this country besides the men had to deal with. And we're expected the guys to be something superhuman that creates a ideal and an idealism that's not realistic. The husbands didn't know. Isaiah Thomas' daddy was a husband. He had to go. But like, if we put the same idea of you ladies out, and you took the factors in it, you wouldn't take it so well. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. But what's the resolution for that?
Well, I mean, the first resolution is living in reality. That's the first thing that like take the idea, an ideal, or the idea, the idealism out of the equation, and start living in this is what people actually are. You can't have a solution where one person is living in reality and one person is living in an idea, because you'll never come to a common ground. And that's where, that's the first solution, like actually be in the reality of the situation. The second solution, I'll hold up, Haitian, I got you, fam. I got you this time. Protection starts with prevention. You can't protect anything you don't control. That's the first solution. The second solution is this is gonna suck for a lot of people to understand, when you come to the table, it ain't gonna get fixed fast. You might be dead by the time it gets fixed.
I mean, I agree, but do you think there was a situation back in the 50s and the 60s or the 40s or the 30s when there were husbands in our community or whatever, baby fathers, I don't know. They had several different families from several different women.
Mhm.
And the same thing is going on now. Like, do you believe in generational curses?
Well, yes, and my issue with that is also like my grandmother, my grandmother was one of my best friends ever in life. And my grandmother made the statement that she liked Maury Povich because back in her, back in her day, they used to just have to tell a man it was his baby and he had to believe it. See, when we say the men had families across towns, that's true. But we leave out the fact that some of these families weren't their families because they had a job. You get what I'm saying? We
No. What do you mean they're within their families? Like, are you saying like if they have families outside of their original family, they're
I,
still not their families, or
I'm saying mama's baby, daddy's maybe was a two-way street.
okay, got it.
It wasn't, you know, some of your uncles and aunts ain't your blood uncles and aunts, but you don't
Hmm.
know that. Mama never said nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? But because you know, that's the other half to that story is what I'm getting at. You know, we're assuming that the guys were just out cheating, not the women. When it
I
was
mean, I'm
actually
pretty sure the women were cheating too, because it's not all on the men; it's on the women too. There's trifling men, there's trifling women, there's trifling baby
no,
fathers,
no,
there's
no,
trifling baby mothers. So it goes both ways.
no. I get that. What you said about the families being across town, there were families that were across town, and there were families that men were taking care of that wasn't their family,
Okay,
that they thought was their family. Like both of them existed, and sometimes that was the reason for having a family across town.
okay, I get it.
You know, but I'm gonna shut this down because I'm over here being rude to my my lady up in here. This is terrible. It's time to go home.
All right.
Or be home.
Well, thank you. It was a great stream, and thank you for letting me on.
No problem. I'm gonna do this more often. Everybody, appreciate y'all for coming. Mike, I'm gonna just shut it down, fam. So tomorrow I'm gonna get back at it too. So we're gonna have some topics. So peace, everybody.